Hello, it's Dawn Michelle from Boho Tarot, and today we're going to take a look at the new Mystic Masters Tarot, a deck created by Dani Mystic and the Great Masters of centuries past. The Mystic Masters is a 78 card tarot deck created from etchings and wood carvings from the 16th and 17th century. Each piece has been watercolored and adorned by Dani to bring these beautiful scenes to life. So today I'm super excited to share with you this new deck. This was sent to me by our very own Dani Mystic in order to check out, and this is the gorgeous Mystic Masters Tarot. Now I've watched Dani create this tarot deck on her channel, which has been an amazing process to watch, and I'm so excited to be able to share the final product, all of her hard work all put together in this absolutely gorgeous tarot deck. It comes in this beautiful design tucked box. We have the name here, Mystic Masters. We have these ink splots, which are just gorgeous. I love that little technique. I know that that's on some of the cards too, which I'm actually super excited about. It also has the little wax seal emblem at the top here, which I thought was pretty cool. And here we have the wonderful cards. Now, like I said, I've watched Dani create this deck on her channel, and so I am really excited to see it in person. They are this gorgeous little subtle pattern on the back. It doesn't look like they're quite reversible, but it's like so subtle, I don't know that you would even notice. For me, that's not a big thing because I don't read reversals, so I think it works just fine. Absolutely beautiful. Great cardstock. I love this type of cardstock. It's thin and flexible and works really well for someone like me who is a riffle shuffler. So just a couple of notes about the cardstock. It's a Superior Smooth 310 GMS black core cardstock, and that black core I think is what really gives it that nice flexibility. It also generally means that it holds up really well. It is a durable matte style finish, which I love because it's not that super sticky matte. It's like kind of, I always call it like satin. That makes it so much easier for me to shuffle. It is a standard tarot size, which is also fantastic because that means I can get my little hands around it. So enough rambling from me. Let's go ahead and jump into these gorgeous cards. So here we have the Fool, and as I've mentioned, this entire deck is made like a collaboration between Dani mixing her own art style with that of the masters of the 16th and 17th century, and I think that is just absolutely wonderful. I love that idea of that sort of collaborative art project. That's really beautiful having those two mixed together. I know that Dani spent a lot of time very carefully selecting the images that would go on each of these cards, and I think that you can definitely see that attention to detail within this deck. And we have the astrological symbols down at the bottom too, and here you can see some of the embellishments that Dani has added as well, which I think is just really lovely. I do have to say that I also really like the titles on this deck. I love that the way that they're kind of stamped on there. I think that's beautiful. So here we have the Magician, gorgeous. We can see again the stamped type, all of the little embellishments that Dani has added that just adds so much texture to this deck. And that is just like, if you know me, you know my channel, you know my taste, that is right up my alley. I do a lot of texturing in my own art, and so I love seeing that in this deck. I think it's really beautiful, and the colors in this deck are just stunning. So here we have the High Priestess, and again, just the texture and all the layering in this deck just really, really thrills me. I love that. So here we have the Empress. Again, beautiful addition of color we see here with all the pinks around her. And again, that textured element that we catch in all these little embellishments here. Just gorgeous. I love that she has the little bird on her finger. One of the things that I really like about this Emperor is that it has a very masculine feel. We have the little cross hatching over here, which I think is just really beautiful. I love the inclusion of red on this card because red is definitely a color that I associate with the Emperor, so I think that's wonderful. So here we have our Hierophant, again pulling in that red color, which I think is really beautiful, and all the different use of textures. We have some words back here, which I really like as well. Beautiful Lovers. I really, really like this Chariot card. I love the way that she's incorporated the different textured elements. Shape and color can create movement in a card. I think that's wonderful. Love this strength card. I think it's so beautiful. I love all the additions of, you know, the red in this deck. I think there's a lot of interesting color associations that you could play into in this deck as well, that Dani has really, I think, mindfully chosen the colors to be brought out in each card, which is really beautiful. Here we have the Hermit, which I think is just wonderful. I love the pieces of paper down the side here, the like book pages. Look at this cross hatching here in the background. The town, the trees, it's kind of all cross hatched together, which is really gorgeous. Beautiful, beautiful card. Love that. Wheel of Fortune. Again, I could go on and on about the texture that Dani's included in this deck because I think it's just beautiful. Love this Justice card. Again, we see little bits of paper here. I love that. I'm working on something similar myself, so I think that's just beautiful. So I think this is really interesting, Hanged Man, because he's not actually upside down, which I think is really wonderful, because for me, this idea of this figure standing straight up, standing properly, not being hung upside down, really taps into more the idea of voluntary surrender, right? He's not been strung up. I mean, he does have something through his arm, but more of this idea of he's voluntarily stepping into this this space of surrender. And again, texture, just love that. I could point that out in every single card, but I won't. I love this Death card. I think this is so beautiful, such a wonderful piece to depict the idea of death. It definitely has a bit of a darker sense to it, but I think we can definitely pull in that sort of transitional energy as well. Just gorgeous. Beautiful Temperance card. Again, I love the use of color, the way that she's incorporated that movement through the actual texture that she's put into the cards. I know I sound like a broken record, but that is really what this deck is all about, and it's so gorgeous. So here we have the Devil, and I love the red ink splotch on this card. I think that's really powerful, and the way that they cover her and the way that we have this texture kind of striping across her is really interesting. Gorgeous. And we have the chain too. Lovely. Beautiful Tower card. You can see, I think Dani's added in some of the lightning bolts there. And I love when the towers are stable on the bottom. I think that's great. I love this cross hatching going on over here too. Love this Star card. Oh, such beautiful colors and texture and just everything coming together in this gorgeous way. Beautiful. And this Moon. Oh my goodness, this Moon. I love this Moon card. I love the circles here. We have some stamps down here as well. The coloring that's been pulled in, that purple and blue, like everything just really comes together in this lovely cohesive energy, which really gives that idea of the moon. And I love that we have the darkness on this side and the lightness on this side, which gives that idea of things being illuminated, right? It's gorgeous. Here we have the Sun, and I quite like the Sun card because although we have the little face, baby face in the sun, which is usually not my favorite, I like that the primary figure is actually this figure here, and he's really stepping into his power in the sun. And of course, all the little bits of paper and texture, just love that. Love that. Judgment, love this Judgment card. I love that the X's are on either side. I think that's just so clever. And here we have the World card. Again, another gorgeous card. I love all the little details that she's added. Beautiful. So now we're moving into the minors, and we have the cups with the Ace of Cups. I love the fountain for the Ace of Cups. Here we have these little doodles on the side, which I really love. And of course the paper, I'm a huge fan of, you know, if you've seen some of my little art projects, I'm a huge fan of that. Gorgeous. I love this Two of Cups too. And I love that we have the white circles again. Sorry, trying to keep things even. And one of the things that I really like about this card in particular is I love the white lines outlining their bodies, because if you look at the way the lines have been drawn, you can see that if these two figures came together, they would actually complete each other. And I think that's just beautiful. And by adding those lines and those accents, it really draws your attention to that they complete each other. And I think that's gorgeous. Here we have the beautiful Three of Cups. I'm going to try to go a little bit faster through the minors because otherwise we'll be here forever. Beautiful Four of Cups. And here we have our Five of Cups. Gorgeous. I love this blue color she's incorporated. And the Six of Cups. Lovely. Again, getting that idea of flow and movement in the texture. I know, I'm sorry. Quit pointing that out. We have the Seven of Cups. Here we have our Eight of Cups. I love that she's incorporated the same color, that same blue color is featured throughout all of the cups. And I think that's really gorgeous because it has that sort of elemental color tie-in, which is really beautiful. Here we have our Nine of Cups. How cute are they? Love that. Our Ten of Cups. Beautiful. Here's our Page of Cups. Again, the little white lines kind of accenting things. I think that's gorgeous. Still pulling in that blue color. Here we have our Knight. Again, that idea of movement that we're seeing through the texture as well. Beautiful. Queen of Cups. She's gorgeous. I love how the splashes are over here where her little container is pouring out. The King of Cups. Wonderful. Now we move into the coins. I love this Ace of Coins. Again, we have the little book pages. I love that. And we have the splotches here, and they look like they're very dark green. That's going to go throughout. It's beautiful. Two of Coins. Gorgeous artwork. The Three of Coins. This whole deck has a little bit of a Solobusca feel to me. I think that's really beautiful. That keeps kind of popping into my mind as I'm looking through all the cards and all the imagery. Just gorgeous. Might be the color palette, maybe the imagery. It's our Four of Coins. Look, she's got all the coins in her dress. I love that it's not a miserly looking card, right? It's just about collecting your resources, not necessarily in a bad way. Just getting your resources together. Five of Coins. Gorgeous. So much going on in the imagery. I mean, I could really take some time and dive deep into these images, but we'd be here forever, so I won't today. The Six of Coins. Gorgeous. I love the color palette. It just really thrills me. If you can't tell, color palette really thrills me. Here we have our Seven of Coins. Again, we have the little splotches here. Beautiful. These little blue dots over here almost look like coins themselves. Little blue coins. I think maybe I haven't been noticing. They're here again. I wonder if they appear all throughout the coin suit and I just wasn't paying that much attention. Eight of Coins. These are 9. Love that. 10 of Coins. Again with the texture. I think that's gorgeous. I love this Page of Coins. I think it's the balance of light and dark in this card, and I really like the little skull figure. I think that's cool. Here we have our Knight of Coins. I love that the knights have horses. That just really ties in that knight energy for me. Beautiful. Queen of Coins. That's my card, right? That's my card. I love these right here. The little hand-drawn etchings, the ink splashes. Gorgeous. She's out in nature. I love that. And King of Coins. Very powerful. Almost get sort of a Green Man vibe with him, which is awesome. I think that works really well for the pentacles or the coin suit. So here we have our swords. Beautiful Ace. I love that he's reading the book, and look, she's got the little lines, like kind of this illumination coming from his head. Love that. Gorgeous. We have our Two of Swords. Oh, so much detail, so much texture going on in these cards. I can't wait to dive into them a bit deeper. Three of Swords. I love this. It's so much more open, so much more expansive. Gorgeous. 4 of Swords. 5 of Swords. I love the way she's colored that card. Here's our 6 of Swords. Everybody on the boat. Oh, look at this. It's almost like it's being illuminated. I love that. The 7 of Swords. I love this 8 of Swords. This is another one that is just one of those really gorgeous, gorgeous cards. This kind of bluish color, blue-gray color goes all throughout the swords, of course. But I think it's just beautiful the way that she's incorporated all of that texture in there. The 9 of Swords. I really like that. And our 10 of Swords. Here we have our Page of Swords. Lovely. Our Knight. I quite like all the knights on horseback. I think they're super cool. The Queen of Swords. She's lovely. She's got a sword in her hand over here. She looks very, very confident, very sure of herself. Beautiful for a Queen of Swords. Here's our King. Again, he also looks very powerful, very sure of himself, confident. Here we move into the Wands. And oh my goodness, I love this. What a beautiful depiction for the Ace of Wands. We have the paper texture down here. We have the sort of outline with the white. And then of course we have the little splotches, which are just, I think are really awesome. I love that they're color coded. That like so makes me happy. So 2 of Wands. Our 3. Beautiful. Look, I love the little writing paper cutouts. I think I keep saying that. 4 of Wands. Just a beautiful card. Beautiful. Beautiful imagery. And Dani has really done an excellent job kind of adding her own style to it. I think it's beautiful. 5 of Wands. Again, definitely get that sort of conflict energy of the 5. I love that. Our 6 of Wands. Beautiful victory type scene here. Here's our 7. Just look at all this going on down here. Love that. Our 8 of Wands. I love that. 9 of Wands. Our 10. It's our Page. Our Knight. Love this little texture over here. Our Queen of Wands. Again, just gorgeous use of texture and color. And our King. Okay, so now that we've had a chance to look at all the cards, I wanted to do just a quick sort of number flip through, I guess, of the minors, because I love the way that these cards really tap into the sort of numerological and elemental associations of the cards. And I do love that in some places, you know, we get a little bit more of an expansive, open interpretation than just being a strictly Rider-Waite-Smith. And so I wanted to just kind of point that out. I love these aces. You know, we think of the aces as the beginning, and I think each of these cards really embodies the essence of their suit beautifully. So we have the Fountain for the Cups. We have this, you know, figure who is kind of doing his little measurements here. Really ties into that idea of the material realm. We have the beautiful Ace of Swords, where we have the figure with the book and the illuminated head, which really gives that idea of tapping into intellectual pursuits, intellectual ideas, the realm of the mind. And then we have this Ace of Wands, which really embodies that idea of the wands as sort of that, the suit of passion, the suit of what fuels you, the suit of your fire and your purpose. And I love that each of these aces really embodies that energy of their suits and really taps into the potential of the suit, right? This is kind of like the root. The aces are the root. They're the potential of their suit. I think that these cards just really depict that beautifully. And I wanted to kind of just go through each one, and I'll try to go fairly quickly here just so we're not here forever, so that we can kind of see how each of these play out. So here we have our 2s, again with the cups, the coins, the swords, and the wands. And again, I think each of these really beautifully embody their numerological and elemental associations. Gorgeous. So moving on to our threes. You know, 3 is definitely the number of growth, and I think you can see each of these cards really taps into that idea of growing within that element, right? Growing within the emotional realm, in the material realm, the mental realm, and the kind of soul or passion realm. I think that's gorgeous. So here we have our 4s. Again, I love the way these 4s really depict their element. In particular, I really like this 4 of coins because, as I mentioned, it doesn't lock you into the idea of the miser. It is really open to this idea of 4s also being the number of stability, and 4 of coins can also be about just gathering your resources, getting stable with where you are. And I think that's really wonderful. So here we have our 5s, and I love these 5s because these 5s I think really embody the conflict and challenge within each of their suits. I think that's really gorgeous, the way that the artwork that she's chosen to depict each of these and the way that she's colored them and accented different pieces and parts of them. I think it's beautiful. I'm going to try not to linger or we'll be here forever, but there is a lot to dive into this deck. So after the instability of the 5, we bring in that harmony, kind of that harmonizing energy of the 6s. And again, I think these all just beautifully depict that within their elements beautifully. So here we have our 7s. 7s have been a really key number for me lately. And I love the idea that all of these 7s really depict the idea of kind of moving forward. We think of as 7 is, you know, the growth of the 3 stacked on top of the stability of the 4. And you get that idea of growth from a place of stable movement. And I love that. And I think that's really depicted beautifully in each of these cards. I don't know if that was intentional or just an intuitive decision, but I think it works beautifully. Here we have our 8s, and again, I think they really encompass the energy of their suits wonderfully. Gorgeous cards. And our 9s. Beautiful. 9s is that really dynamic energy, and I think we definitely get that idea within these images. Sometimes the dynamic energy can be, you know, more positive, more flowing, like we see here in the cups and the coins, and sometimes it can be a bit overwhelming, like we see here in the swords. Like, it's a lot of energy, right? So sometimes it can be a bit much to deal with, in a good or bad sense, or I should say in a positive or negative. Here we have the 10s. So I think of the 10s as kind of the culmination of their suit. And I think that these cards really depict that beautifully. So here we have all of our pages. I do like that all of our pages do look quite young. I think that's nice. I think of the pages as being that sort of, you know, a little bit more immature energy. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but not as refined as, say, our kings and queens. So here we have our knights, and I love that all of our knights have horses. That's fabulous, because to me that really speaks to that knight energy, that moving forward, that going out and questing for those things that you're trying to bring into your life or bring into yourself, as the case may be. And here we have our queens. And again, I think they all really embody their suit beautifully. Yeah, I mean, each one really feels like it taps into the elemental energy of their suit. So I think that's gorgeous. Sorry, cards getting away from me here. And our kings. And our kings all look very powerful, very much the masters of their domain. So I think that's gorgeous. So now that we've had a chance to kind of look through them, let's give them a shuffle. I mean, I know I can tell by feeling them, they're going to shuffle beautifully. And that is super important to me. Look, I can get my hands around it. Yeah, they shuffle gorgeously. And one of the things that I like is they're flexible, but there is there's some heft to these cards. They're substantial. They remind me a little bit of US Games cardstock. Not quite as stiff as US Games, but definitely substantial cardstock. I mean, that's just fun. I could just shuffle these all day long. They have a nice slide to them. I don't know if I could do it this way. I probably can. I tend to do it this way. Not that it matters, right? But you can shuffle it. You can shuffle it. I love a deck I can shuffle. That makes me so happy. Okay, let's lay a few cards out just so that we can see. Oh, there's the Magician. Just so we can see what they look like on the table. Some big energy going on here, right? We have the Magician, the Tower, and the Four of Cups. Lots of energy being manifested to create some change, bring some stability. I think that's gorgeous. I love to just lay cards out. The color palette in this deck is just breathtaking. Look at that. Beautiful. So I know this is going to be like a forever long walkthrough, but I really want to point out, like, I think that the little textured elements that Dani has added, I think are really key to unlocking some great detail into this deck to see where did she add the texture? What does the movement of the texture, what does that kind of embody for you? What does that symbolize for you? Where the splotches are, like for him, he's looking towards them. So I think that's really interesting. And one of the other things that I think is really interesting about this deck is where Dani has chosen to add color. And I feel like that's really probably key to what your eye is drawn to, right? The first thing my eye is drawn to in this card is his red cape. And I think that's really interesting, you know, followed by these little angels. And of course we have all the addition of the elements that Dani has added. I mean, like this gorgeous use of texture and color here. Again, the red cape, the very yellow lion. It's beautiful. I think that there's a lot that you could dive into just in looking at color and texture and where Dani has chosen to add additional elements. Sometimes those elements, like we see here, it really creates an atmosphere for each of the cards, which I think is really interesting. But look at this. Just look at this colors. I mean, look at this gorgeous color palette. It's just beautiful. I could see myself working with this one quite a bit because it has all these different elements that I love. It has color, it has texture, it has the multimedia layer effect to it. It has this gorgeous, you know, historic type artwork that I love. I just think that Ace of Swords is amazing. Yeah, I really like it. I really like what Dani has done with this deck. So if you're interested in grabbing a copy of the Mystic Masters, which I think you totally should, Dani's currently doing a pre-order through mid-November on Etsy. I will leave all the relevant links in the description box below so you can check out not only the deck and pre-order it for yourself, but also I'm going to leave a link to her YouTube channel as well because she has some fantastic videos on the creation of this deck that I think are a lot of fun to check out. And so I will leave those for you in the description box below as well. So that is a look at the gorgeous Mystic Masters by Dani Mystic. I hope you enjoyed this video and will join me again soon for more creative tarot for an inspired life.